Hey guys, Kelade here. Welcome to my Mythic Lady Inerva Darkvein kill/commentary video. For this fight and probably every single fight that we're going to do, initially I am going to be playing as arms. We are lusting on the pull with all of our cooldowns. We're going to do as much damage as we can during this phase where no mechanics are happening. Because as far as you can see on the 4 containers, right, you don't want that to reach 100. And in Mythic difficulty, when you click on the container, it goes to all the other ones anyways. So essentially it kind of works as an enrage mechanic where you have to kill the boss within a certain amount of time. We're trying to do as much damage as we can before any mechanics start happening here. As far as our talents, you can kind of see them on the screen right now. Skull Splitter, Double Time, Massacre, Defensive Stance, Warbreaker, Avatar, and Ravager. I am using Signet of the Tormented Kings. And as you can see, whenever you're playing as arms, right after your auto attack, you can kind of walk out and charge back into the boss, get some additional rage. I'm standing right here, soaking the bottles here in melee, right? Just to make sure somebody's in those circles. If you're not soaking the bottles, you probably just wipe. The use immunity weak right here is to spell reflect this concentrated anima. Right here, we basically, I think, just have the DKs using AMS and I use Spell Reflect. I don't know who else uses it. Possible Rogue might cloak too, but any magical immunities will make sure that the ads spawn less. So normally you would get 3 ads here, right? So 1 Harnesses Spectre and 2 of these like Conjure Manifestation ads that cast a Condemn. But as you can see, we only have 2 ads here because we immune 1 of them. And Spell Reflect does work on this. I don't know why, but it's possible that Spell Reflect might not work on the later one, like the one with the heavy anima. So you'll see in the video it doesn't work later on, but right here, the beam here, and Mythic difficulty, you guys can see that there's 4 balls and there's 3 lines. There's still only 3 people, right? So you have to make essentially like a slightly bigger triangle with their 3 people to make sure you hit all 4 of the circles with 3 lines. And that's kind of the Mythic difficulty too. So here, just kind of whenever I can, right? Especially like you want to hit the condemned targets you can hit. So if this ad is lower, right, just condemn it down and we're good to go. And you get back on the boss here. And then use immunity again, so we Spell Reflect, right? Once again, you can see something got immune, right? Both DKs are using their AMS. You can see only 2 ads spawn again. Realistically, I think if you really wanted to, like, had for some reason, right? You just summon all 3 ads. Obviously, there's more things to AoE, but it makes the fight much easier if you spawn less ads, right? There's less potential AoE damage going out, and then you can also focus more single target damage on the boss, right? So just my kick right there, you can see it's the skull ad, right? The second kick. So whenever that's up, try to kick it. The other thing is you also want to be switching, like I mentioned earlier, like switching the ads. So when I talk about switching the ads, this Harness Spectre here, he has more ad than the ad that casts Condemn, right? So when you start off, when the ads first spawn, you want to start off condemning off of him because you actually be able to condemn on him for much longer. And then the instant that the condemn ads are in condemn range, for lack of a better term, you start condemning those ads instead, right? So here, I use Warbreaker and Ravager here. This is the only part that's like 250 mark, right, where those ads die, where you can use your cooldowns outside of the ad spawning and still have them up for the next set of ads. Now, it's unfortunate we moved the ad, or moved the boss while my Ravager's on the ground, but it is what it is. And you guys can see on the left side there, people doing the triangle strokes. Essentially, like how you got to make their triangle work. That guy in orange needs to go up a little bit more. There it is. And then here we go. This is what I mean by like these ads are spawning. Now if you use your cooldowns where I just used it, you're not gonna have their cooldowns up right away for these ads, but it will be up essentially as they're dying. So and I think it's probably a better use of it just to make sure you get some more boss damage in. All right, so right here, here's my second kick. Right, kick the ad, come back here. And I don't use my I am using the Quantum Trinket, like the question mark one. I don't use it here because everybody's low HP and I wanted to get the buff. So I'm kind of saving it, but it really doesn't matter because I actually don't end up using it later anyways. Like I'll use it later and I think it just heals somebody anyway. So I think next time I do this fight, I might use a different trinket on this part because if everybody's gonna be low HP all the time at this point in the fight, it definitely devalues how much benefit or DPS you're getting from the Quantum Trinket. And then so outside of the part I just showed, like where I use the Warbreaker and Ravager, I am going to be using my cooldown with every single ad. So right there, I use my cooldown trinket. I think I healed the DK or something. But yeah, as far as for cooldowns, I am going to be at this point saving it for the ads until we get to like this part in execute phase. I think I still do save it here for the ads. No, I'm just using it for execute phase. Yeah, at this point, all the damage is on the boss. I'm trying to push the boss as hard as we can. Essentially, I think at this point in the fight, there's 1 more ads, and we will also immune ads. I know you guys can't hear it, but I think where I pop cooldowns right there was also when an ad was supposed to spawn. And as you can see, we don't spawn any ads. So like if you watch our videos and you watch some other guilds do it, he'll be like, why isn't any ad spawning? Is because we immune them all. So I'm fairly confident that's what happened right there, and we don't have any ad spawning. They're moving the boss pretty far across the room just because there's all those red puddles on the ground. They're trying to get away from it. So right here, this is where I'm like kind of weirded out by this, because this should have gotten reflected. My like theory for this is possible that only the light concentrated ones gets reflected, and once it goes to like this dark one, it can't be immune. Because I reflected there, and you can see it. Like if you pause the video and go back, my spell reflector is up this whole time, and it somehow doesn't work. Also, at this point, since the boss is so close to being dead, and there was like a AoE rate damage coming out, I just pop all my cooldowns, like die by the sword, and just make sure we kill the boss. And then of course, at this point, you ignore the ads, but you still gotta kick the ads, right? So like I'm watching the ad. If the skull ad ever goes to the second kick right here, you know, I would have kicked that, but boss is dead here. So yeah, that's it for Lady Inerva Darkvein. I mean, it's a very, very good fight for arms because you're gonna get ad spawning every time your cooldowns are up, and you can get that 2-target cleave going. But yeah, thanks for checking out the video, guys. Feel free to subscribe to see more. See ya.